Welcome back to the Chasing Common Ground podcast. Today, I am recording in the evening of a Monday where we are having an epic thunder and lightning storm. So you may hear noises in the background. Also, if you happen to be tuning in on YouTube or if you're watching the video version as a Substack subscriber, you will notice this unique virtual background. So I actually put this into ChatGPT. I got it to take a description of the Chasing Common Ground podcast, kind of like a summary of sort of like the tone of the episodes and the subject matter, etc., and create an image based on that. And this is what it came up with, and it's pretty epic. It looks like I am like in front of a body of water with like some LED lights on the coast and a really modern city in the background, some mountains. Like I'm digging this. I could if this is what the future like looks like, sign me up. Nevertheless, there is one thing that I mentioned prior to recording this episode, and it is that recently I asked everybody to submit something to me on Instagram that they were grateful for. I'm going to say that it took some poking and prodding. Uh, it's funny because if I was to make a observation as a fly on the wall, I would say that people now in 2024 are struggling to dig up things that they're grateful for. And that is a huge differentiating factor in life, which actually reminds me of a book that I was diving into. I was doing a bit of a road trip this weekend, and this is the latest book that I've been listening to on Audible, and it's called Unlocked by George Mumford. I'm a big fan of George Mumford. Kind of came across him not only because of his work with athletes like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and Shaq, but he's also been working with the Edmonton Oilers. And so that's where he kind of dropped onto my radar. And I just like his style. And in that book, not only does it cover kind of like how his mindset shift had to happen and his battle with addiction, it also kind of amplifies how helpful it is to focus your energy around gratitude and how much your mindset and how you think and how you perceive yourself and how you perceive different situations and how you handle different stressors in your life, how that can kind of shape how your life unfolds. It could be you could just have an average life or you could have an extraordinary life. And it seems that the differentiating factor is your mindset. And so an exercise that I like to do is I like to, no matter whether my life is actually going well or whether it's going like, it could be better, I constantly reflect on gratitude. Now, this is something that I leaned into a lot during the pandemic when gyms were closed, when I was isolated, all this other stuff. And I actually did some projects where I'd uh, draw from people maybe what their advice that they'd have for themselves or what they were grateful for, or some like life advice that they'd have for people, just like as a reflection exercise, just something for fun. As I'm connecting with people through Instagram, because I'm not someone who like I do not get a rush or joy from fame. It's more so from connection. So if I had like 1,200 people that I could have conversations with and we could talk about life things and I could help them when they need help and they could support me when I need somebody to amplify my message, great. Um, would I be angry if I had 100,000 followers? I don't think so, but I just don't think that that would be the end all be all. That wouldn't be the thing that made me feel fulfilled. And so it's just not really a massive priority for me. I'm able to stay very busy with work, with the network that I have. All that to say, as part of being someone who has people who kind of like read what I say and they're kind of invested, and I really do support all of you who do choose to tune into the show when I'm publishing an episode and I'm like saying, hey, tune in, and you are actually doing it. You're awesome. As part of that, I like to make a meaningful impact where I'm actually like providing something that could make a positive impact on your life rather than messing with your head with too many highlight reels or having just content that just isn't fully transparent. So in this exercise, five of you participated, and I'm going to share some of the things that you shared with me because I think they're really special. So one person, and I'm going to keep these anonymous, so I'm not going to identify anybody too much, but I'm going to talk about the things that they noticed that they're grateful for. So one person identified that they are grateful for their health, their husband, and being able to help others with their health and fitness regularly. That resonates because to be able to have purpose in your work makes a pretty big difference in how you feel about your work. When you have a sense of purpose in your work, you don't really feel like you have to like quit. You don't feel this sense of longing for when is this done. You almost feel like, how much more will I get to do of this in my life? If somebody really likes what they do, like let's say if they are someone who is custom making shoes and they just get great joy from making custom shoes for all these people's special events or for how they show up to work every day in a professional setting, if they feel very fulfilled by that, they're probably not in a hurry to retire. Like they'll retire when they can't kind of go through the day as they used to be able to do when they need to slow down, but they wouldn't necessarily retire because they resented their work because they're doing the work because they love it. And so for someone passionate about helping people, getting to help people with their health and fitness regularly is pretty cool. The next gratitude share here is this person is grateful for their health and again, having a career that they're absolutely obsessed with. And this stuff gets that person going. Again, it kind of comes down to like, this is why I am notorious for being the reason a lot of people quit their jobs. I think it's kind of funny, but I also sometimes worry that I am creating chaos in the world. But I do know there are people out there that it would probably be in their best interest to do things that really matter to them, especially as the world changes. The jobs that people used to assume would be stable jobs forever, the world's changing. We don't know what's a stable job anymore. So you truly are best served to do work that you are so passionate about that you would do it even if you weren't paid. Because if you're doing work that you would only do if you got paid, and then all of a sudden that work is taken away from you, what do you have left? And these are just things that I think about. Next, gratitude share. This person, they also added some heart emojis to emphasize their gratitude, but they're very grateful for their husband. And I think that's super cool. And I think that's obviously it's a common one. This is the second time that that's come up. I've obviously got connections with a lot of badass husbands out there because their partners are very grateful for them. But I think here's my take on this. There's probably a lot of husbands who need to hear that firsthand. So, on behalf of a lot of dudes, if you are saying that you're grateful for your husband, I challenge you to do something special to really let them know. A lot of if I'm just going to put my dad on the spot. My dad likes to hear nice things about what he brings to the table. Uh, it makes him feel better to be recognized and validated. I would say I'm probably the same. So if I'm going to put him on the spot, I'm putting myself on the spot too. But I'm not asking for any validation or anything. What I'm saying is that if you are out there and you've got like some awesome dude in your life and he's been around forever through thick and thin, uh, you'd be amazed at how special he'll feel if you say, "Good job." But to segue and keep things serious, we are going to go on to the next one. This one is there's not going to be too many gratitude shares that are like this one, so this one might be identifiable, but I'm going to do my best to keep it anonymous still. This one is this person was grateful for cheese toast at 2 a.m. with my 4-year-old who couldn't sleep and needed some dad time. See, again, just dads just killing it out there. This one is from the dad himself. In this case, it's kind of about stopping and smelling the roses. I think a lot of people sort of think that we're in a rush, like we're in a rush to get this like milestone with our career. We're in a rush to reach this level of prestige. When really, like if I think about my memories as a kid, there's a lot that's a blur, but everything that is vividly clear is like moments that I shared with siblings or my parents or like close childhood friends. And the urgency of different tasks, whether we were on time or late to get to the grocery store, uh, how many classes I went to in the year. I mean, I was a pretty diligent student, but I'm not reflecting on whether I had a sick day or not, or whether I had to go home sick or anything like that. I'm thinking about the things that people did to help me feel better, to support me, to spend time with me, all that stuff. And so if you're up at 2 a.m. with your 4-year old and you're having cheese toast with them, that's pretty special. And there's a high likelihood that they're going to remember that. Because I remember being a little kid and there's like those, I think they're called maraschino cherries or like candied cherries and cheese. And I'd put the cherry with the cheese, and that would be one of my bedtime snacks. And I'd always have like apple juice and stuff with it. I mean, clearly I've got a lot of different bedtime snacks that I had come up with over the years. One of the other go-tos was my mom would make toast and then she'd put margarine on that and then sprinkle sugar on that. And I've seen some memes on Instagram about that being a popular delicacy for 90s kids, perhaps 80s kids as well. All that to say that we have one more gratitude share to highlight here. And I think this one's cool because this one emphasizes the value of making a point to get into nature for not only holistic reasons like just fresh air, being around other living beings, other living creatures, even just being around healthy plants and stuff is just good for our health, regardless of whatever angle a person may have to justify it. Maybe it's just you like the quiet. Maybe it's you like the scenery. Maybe you're taking a selfie for Instagram. Who knows? But I would say majority of the people who take extra time out of their week to enjoy flowers and beautiful colors and sunflowers and just like the fresh air outside and some sunlight, maybe some fresh rain. Anybody who makes time to enjoy that stuff is going to benefit greatly. And so those were the shares that were shared with me. Some of the things that I shared to try and inspire more gratitude was I shared that I'm grateful for my family. That includes my parents, my siblings, my nieces, my assortment of cousins and second cousins, and just everybody that I'm able to keep in contact with, close friends, jujitsu teammates, colleagues in the fitness industry who are also friends, people that I've known for a long time, people that I've known for a short time, clients that have worked with me, people who have given me a chance, people who have helped me along the way. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my ability to get around and be active and try things. I'm grateful for my sense of confidence in my own abilities to have the guts to do scary things in my career, and I'm grateful to be able to breathe. Sometimes it gets smoky and it impedes a person's ability to breathe. So to have a day when it's just like fresh air, easy to breathe, that's something to be grateful for. That I hope gets people thinking and gets people kind of into that sort of like mindset of like thinking about what you're grateful for. Because as George Mumford reflects, when you are in that frame of mind, you tend to attract more good things your way. And I know that I might not be the most experienced person, but I'm getting old, so I'm getting to be a pretty experienced person. And I can tell you being grateful for things and being positive has definitely helped me. Like there's there is documentation of it working where what I went to do as a career didn't necessarily seem like the most realistic, most feasible thing. And despite that, I made it work. And even when things seemed like they wouldn't possibly work, I still made it work. And I think a lot of that was that even on my shittiest of days, even on days when people were heavily critical of me, in fact, like this whole gratitude exercise was inspired because somebody came out of nowhere and started critiquing every single post that I put on Instagram, and I eventually had to block him. And so to deal with that, I dug deep and I thought about things I was grateful for. And to positively impact others because of that interaction, I decided to kind of get people to also practice this great gratitude exercise. And in having that approach to life's ups and downs, it positions me to be more resilient and forward moving and just gets me lots of opportunities. So, the other part of this episode that I kind of wanted to highlight, and this, I don't know how I stumbled across it, but I thought it was very enlightening. So this is an exercise that sort of uses an outline as to like how a person might set up their dating profile. And where I found it to be quite enlightening was now like as I use this as an example, I'm using the dating profile as an example because it is something that is used widely in real life where people get frustrated. And it might be because of how they are representing themselves to the public, and maybe there's like a misalignment of things, or it could be all kinds of stuff, but it's going to make more sense as I explain this. If I explain this just in a description where it's just describing a person without any context to a real life application, is a lot harder to relate. So essentially what I've done, I went into chat GPT 40, and it's funny because I recently did an episode for this for fitness professionals. It'll be on the PT Profit podcast tomorrow. But for all of you, the exercise that I did was I prompted if I'm looking to achieve my highest standard of health and happiness while finding love, what is the opposite attitude I should have? So here's the thing, it gave me like point form of opposite attitudes. So I'll just outline like the title for each and not necessarily like the full description. So, attitudes that would be the opposite of what the person's hoping to achieve would be neglecting self care, negative self perception, cynicism or pessimism. There we go. Isolation and avoidance, rigid thinking, fear of vulnerability, focusing on external validation. And the reason that this kind of stood out to me is there are behaviors that I can pick out from people in their most frustrated moments. Um, for me, my biggest obstacle is I will be engaged in a conversation and the other person stops responding, even if it was their idea to have the conversation in the first place. That is my biggest obstacle. Other people's biggest obstacle is they perhaps are feeling like there are no good candidates out there, or there's just no opportunities. If we put this in the lens of trying to be active, you've tried everything, nothing is working. Trying to be healthy, you've tried everything, nothing is working. Trying to lose weight, um, you have no time, you've tried everything. Like this is sort of like the fitness equivalent. So if we think about cynicism or pessimism, constantly expecting the worst, being overly critical of yourself and others, and assuming that relationships will fail or that happiness is unattainable. If I'm giving you a behind the curtains view of like my work with people online, the biggest difference I probably make as a coach is I shift them from this uh, cynicism and pessimism to being more positively self reflective. I teach people how to find the things that they are doing well. Because if they're focused on the things they're doing well, they do more things well. And while it may take a lot of patience and while it may take a lot of creativity to stack up those other wins, by focusing on the progress and positive, that is how you change somebody's life through the internet. And it's a very key thing. And then just by simply being a relatable person, I tend to help people overcome their fear of vulnerability. A lot of people are able to have very open conversations with me because I hold up my end of the bargain and I have a very real conversation with them. They ask me a tough question, I give them an answer. Obviously, some of my answers could be more like I'm able to answer a question without telling them my social insurance number, is basically what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you can share your adversity without making it a Lord of the Rings movie. And that is something that I've finessed over the years. Now, when I updated this, I said, can you write this in the form of a dating profile? And I needed it to be in the form of a dating profile with the opposite attitude of what one person would need to have to achieve this life of happiness surrounded by love and health, etc. And so in their about me section, it said, I am someone who likes to keep things simple and straightforward. I'm not into all the self help trends and obsessing over health. I believe in living life as it comes. I'm comfortable with who I am, and I don't see much need for change or improvement. Life is unpredictable, so why stress about trying to make everything perfect? Now, on the surface, that seems pretty chill. Let's read further and kind of see how this expands. So, I'm not one to get overly emotional or introspective. I think it's better to keep things light and avoid getting too deep into feelings. Relationships should be easy, and I'm not interested in drama or overanalyzing everything. I prefer to focus on the practical side of life rather than worrying about things like vulnerability or personal growth. I'm realistic, maybe a bit of a cynic, but I see that as just being honest about how the world works. I'm not looking for fairy tale love, just someone who's down to earth and understands that life isn't all roses. I don't need a lot of attention or validation, and I'm not into that romantic stuff. So here's how I contrasted it because they're looking for someone who exhibits the opposite qualities of what they're presenting through the tone of their description of themselves. And it might make more sense as I explain who they're looking for. So I'm looking for someone who's grounded and doesn't take life too seriously. If you're not into all that self improvement stuff and just want to enjoy life as it is, we'll get along great. I appreciate someone who's independent, knows what they want. Ah, so I see what I did here. So this what they're looking for actually matches their attitude. And so what I had to do is I actually had to add a new prompt. I was wondering where I went wrong. If you're listening to this or watching this and you're like, what is he doing? Let me explain. So I had to clarify my prompt with ChatGPT and I had to say, but they're looking for someone who's the opposite of them. They're looking for someone who's fit, active, wealthy, takes care of themselves, has healthy relationships, confident, and charismatic. Because that is nobody can say that they're not looking for that. They're just looking for that in the package that they like the best. But they don't want somebody who's mopey and lacks confidence and is broke. They might be, but I don't think they are. So here's what it gives me. When it describes the person that this person is looking for, it's I'm looking for someone who's the whole package, fit, successful, confident, and well adjusted. You take care of yourself and have a strong sense of who you are. I admire people who are driven and know what they want in life. If you're someone who values health, fitness, and financial success, we could be a great match. I'm looking for someone who can bring out the best in me and who has a lifestyle that I aspire to. Let's connect if you're ready to share your amazing life with someone who appreciates all that you have achieved. So let's go back. The About Me section. They're a laid back person who enjoys the simple things in life. They're not one to spend hours at the gym or obsess over diets. Life's too short for that kind of stress. They believe in enjoying life without getting too caught up in trying to be perfect. They're content with where they are and don't see the need to constantly strive for more. And they're really looking for someone who's got their life together. They're attracted to people who are fit, active, and take great care of themselves. Confidence is key, and they admire those who are charismatic and know how to navigate social situations with ease. They're also looking for someone who's financially secure and has healthy, successful relationships. And these are things that they believe are important in a partner. They're not really the type to overthink things or dive deep into emotions, and they prefer to keep things light and fun. They believe that relationships should be easy and not require too much work, and they're not into self-help or personal development, but they're definitely drawn to people who are ambitious and have their goals in sight. And this kind of just stands out to me because this is just something that I see. So here's how we could change that person's mindset to more align with the person that they're looking for. Or this is how we could change your mindset to make you more aligned with achieving your goals. So this is the prompt that I'm giving it in real time. And I've said, so what if the person has the ideal attitude for what they're looking for? How does that change things? And in real time, this is the answer that it's going to give me. Now, this person looking for their ideal match or looking for their ideal outcome with health and longevity and happiness and fulfillment and confidence, these are fitness consumers' desires. And it is. I'm someone who believes in living life to the fullest, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I'm passionate about maintaining a healthy lifestyle, whether it's through regular workouts, nutritious eating, or finding balance in my day to day. Personal growth is important to me, and I'm always looking to challenge myself and learn new things. I value confidence, not just in myself, but in others, and I believe that charisma comes from being comfortable in your own skin. I'm financially stable, focused on my goals, and enjoy surrounding myself with people who are equally driven and motivated. My relationships are built on mutual respect, open communication, and a shared sense of adventure. I'm someone who loves to explore new ideas, push boundaries, and stay curious. Whether it's through travel, trying out a new hobby, or diving into a great book, I'm always looking to expand my horizons. I believe that happiness comes from a balance of hard work, play, and meaningful connections. That's a totally different tone. So let's see what else we can do. So now I'm going to dig deep. What if the person feels like nothing works out for them, everyone mistreats them, and the world owes them a favor because of how unfair their life has been and how much things are not the way they should be? All right, here's what it gives me. So, for a person who has the attitude that nothing works out for them, that they're mistreated by others, and that the world owes them something because of the unfairness they've experienced, their dating profile might subtly reflect this outlook, even if they don't intend to. So, here's how such a profile might look. This is the About Me section. Life hasn't exactly been a walk in the park for me. I've been through a lot, and I feel like I've faced more than my fair share of challenges. It often seems like things just don't work out the way they should, and I've encountered a lot of people who haven't treated me the way I deserve. Despite all of this, I'm still standing and hope to find someone who can appreciate me for who I am. I'm not asking for much, just someone who can see the good in me and treat me with the respect and kindness I've been missing. I've worked hard, and I believe the world owes me a little break, especially after everything I've been through. I'm looking for someone who understands that life isn't always fair, but is willing to be the change I've been waiting for. I value honesty and loyalty above all because I've seen too much of the opposite. I'm ready to meet someone who's different from the rest, someone who can help me believe that good things do happen to good people. I'm here because I believe there's someone out there who gets it, someone who knows that life can be tough, but that we all deserve a bit of happiness. So now I want to change this with a tone of gratitude. So the prompt that I'm giving it is, how would this change if this person had a gratitude mindset despite everything they'd experienced in life and saw opportunities and didn't dwell on their past? The answer is, life has thrown me its fair share of challenges my way, but I've come out the other side stronger and more grateful for everything I've learned along the journey. I believe that every experience, whether good or bad, has something valuable to offer, and I'm all about embracing the opportunities that come my way. I focus on what I can control and choose to see the silver linings in every situation. My experiences have taught me the importance of resilience, gratitude, and the power of a positive mindset. I'm someone who values growth and learning, and I'm always looking for ways to better myself and those around me. I'm passionate about living a balanced, healthy life and building meaningful connections with others. I know that the past is just a chapter in my story, and I'm excited about what the future holds. I'm here to find someone who shares my outlook on life, someone who appreciates the beauty of the present moment and is eager to create a bright future together. There's still someone who has experienced a lot. There's still someone who's had their butt kicked, but the tone of that description is so much different. And a big changing variable was how they reflect on their life. So the message here is a lot of us, a lot of us have a tendency to really emphasize things that we're insecure about, things that haven't worked out, and it just becomes our whole identity. And we introduce ourselves into situations based on things that haven't gone well in the past. Uh, for fitness and nutrition, it's diets and it's workouts and it's coaches and it's trainers, just things that didn't work out or gyms that just weren't the right fit or programs that weren't customized enough for us. It's all these things, it's all these reasons that we couldn't make it happen. And in a dating app world, it's someone who is meeting someone else for the first time, and what they get met with is the baggage of every encounter with the past partners that the person has ever experienced. As I reflected on some of my experiences where the other person just kind of stops talking, sometimes it's because they got out of a relationship where the guy was a coke addict and homeless and abusive, and they had to move across country. And so, because of that, they couldn't have a conversation with me. And it is the most bamboozling, most bizarre thing of life. I'm not complaining because at this point, it is just simply one more layer in my ability to understand people. And at the end of the day, I'm still, no matter what happens in my life, I'm still going to be grateful that I get to spend so much time with my parents. I'm still grateful that my siblings and my sister-in-law are all healthy. My nieces are just awesome. I have godchildren aside from like people who are related to me. I like there's friends who trust me to be like a beacon of guidance for their kids. There's friends of mine who are setting such a good example for the next generation. There's people who have basically gone out and done what they said they were going to do, and they're reaping the rewards. There's so many opportunities to live just such an exciting life. And there's so many opportunities to just like stop and connect and enjoy things and go to jujitsu for a noon class, when what I used to do like a decade ago is I'd be like trying to avoid the smoker pit because I'm not a smoker, but there was a smoker pit where I used to work. Like these bizarre contrasts. And I'm just so grateful that I'll never, for the rest of my life, I'm pretty confident that I will never have to work in a smoker pit ever again. And that's pretty special. That makes me feel good. Um, Hopefully, you come away from this with some tangible reasons to be grateful. I'm not going to edit this too much. So if there's lots of like long pauses when I'm typing and looking stuff up, thank you for staying along for the journey. And if you enjoy this, I'm making a big push to increase my YouTube subscribership. So if you could go search up Chris Liddle on YouTube and subscribe to me there. And also, if you are highly invested in everything that I put out, you can be the first to be notified by subscribing on chrislittle.substack.com. That way you get emails when these new episodes are released. I'm actually lining up some guests. Gonna bring some guests back on the show. Some people will be return guests, some people will be brand new guests. People are hard to lock down. So it's not for lack of a desire to talk to people. It's mostly because all the people that I'm excited to talk to are also doing a lot of really cool, really exciting things. And so it's worthwhile for me to wait for them to make those conversations happen than to panic and just like put everybody and their dog on the show. And if I've ever not put you on the show, it is just simply because through my seasons of life, I cross paths with people that I have different connections with, where it's just the timing just feels right, where it's like a friend of mine just recently became a dad, so I want to talk to him about that. And I've got a friend who other people have recommended me to put on the show, and I want to talk to them about that. And I had a really meaningful conversation with a coach where I felt like we connected on a lot of things, so I want to talk to them about that. And so I don't force connections. It kind of happens naturally. And if you are someone who ever is like, well, I need to tell my story, the best thing you can do is start your own podcast. And it's something I've helped a lot of people do. So if you have questions about that or just want to hire me to get you set up, then you can always reach out. But aside from that, go out there, practice being grateful for things, practice looking for the light in life, the positive in stuff, the goodness in people. I think a great exercise that we can do is we can think about everybody we know and we can think about their best qualities. I find that is very easy for me to do. And I may just have come across it naturally, or maybe it's just been my way of coping when I feel sad. I just think about things that I like about other people. Anyways, that is that. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you for the next one.